This is the installation of the wiring for a wireless reverse camera on a 2009 Citroen C4 Auto Turbo petrol. I removed all of the plastics from the centre console transmission tunnel to reveal the wiring loom below. And you can now see the two power outlets, the cigarette lighter and the power. And by identifying the cables within those looms, I selected the power and the earth that I was going to use. I also decided to install some auxiliary power, which I'll show later. So here you can see the red cable and the multi-strand cable, which I pulled through behind the dash. Those dash panels clip out fairly easily, and pulled them across to the right-hand side of the car. So the multi-strand cable for the review camera and mirror goes across and up the A-pillar to the roof line. This is a view of the A-pillar trim showing the clips. It pulls out fairly easily. This is a view of where I tuck the cables in underneath the roof lining, just at the top of the screen. You can see inside the A-pillar these black plastic clips which will retain the cable as you run it down the A-pillar. Very handy. This is a view of the dash N panel, which I also popped out just to give me some better access, and I also removed the door rubber all the way along. I mentioned some auxiliary power earlier on, so the red cable I ran across underneath the dash. I installed two power outlets inside this little storage compartment, a single 12-volt power outlet and a double USB. And this little compartment is held into the dash by a single screw at the top. Undo the screw, pull the top out, and then lift the unit up and out. It's held on by a couple of little lugs at the bottom. This is a view of the little power outlets inside that storage locker on the right-hand side. Here's a view of the cable I ran across underneath the steering column. And here's a view of that same cable down the right-hand side of the transmission tunnel. Here's how I spliced those cables in on the loom on the left-hand side of the transmission tunnel. I lifted the sill plastics inside the car on the right-hand side and ran the cable all the way down here to inside the boot. I should mention this is a wireless camera installation. This cable is only the trigger cable for the camera because I couldn't access the reverse switch inside the cabin, so this goes to the power at the reversing light. The reversing camera that I installed above the number plate requires power and also requires the trigger, so I pulled the cable in through an existing grommet and then drilled another hole at the back for the larger connections for the camera, and then connected that wiring power cable direct to the reversing light. So here's the connection to the reversing light, and I ran that back up into the boot, so that power cable provides power to the camera and provides the trigger for the camera as well.